Hey there, Russell Index traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the Index and Russell recap for July 14, 2014. As always, please seek financial advisory when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and never move your stop when placing a trade. Let's jump into our three big indices, the Nasdaq, YM, and ES, and we'll wrap up. We'll talk about GC, CL, and then take a look at the Russell. What we really had was that overnight move on the Sunday open, as we could see on the 534 charts. Check it all out on the bottom screen here. You have a 5 exponential moving average, 34 below in the blue on a 10-tick range chart, except the ES on a 5-tick. As you can see, depicted by the green line, the 25-minute open range high, red line below, 25-minute open range low, and then the 1-hour open range depicted by the solid line. So overnight moves before market opening was the climb up. As we could see, there was a trading opportunity in the early morning or in the morning market AM open. And after that, things started to fizzle out. The ES not getting anywhere really much today. So depending on if you overnight traders, you had your opportunity on EMA crossover, absolutely, for U.S. trading hours. So if we go back to the Sunday open, we definitely had an EMA crossover at the market open over here at 3 o'clock West Coast time here in the U.S. with a 2-bar confirmation. And you would have just ridden that all up through the overnight session. Let's start with the Nasdaq here. As the Nasdaq market breadth started out somewhere around 6-1 for the morning session, showing a high advancers and decliners. Here we could see on the tick count as far as market internals for the majority of the day, with an AD line starting out all the way above 750, around 1900, coming all the way back down to 750. The Nasdaq at one point starting out at 6-1 and eventually coming down below the 2-1 breadth, and market momentum was really to the downside for the majority of the day, shown up by these red triangles. So here on the Nasdaq, what are we looking for? We're looking for the 2-bar confirmation. We already had the 534 EMA crossover, so all we're looking for is that 2-bar confirmation. We had several of them here on the market open. We had a 2-bar confirmation over here at 639, and your stop placed at the low of 39.09. You would have been able to ride that up, pending other pivot line support and resistance. Chopping up here at the top of the 25-minute open range. Second opportunity, a more momentum move, was the 1-bar here at the 7:41 West Coast time, 2-bar confirmation at 7:46. You already had an EMA crossover that was already holding on. So 741, we're looking down here, and the break up above on Heiken Ashi candles. The 5 above the 34 EMA made for a nice trade to the upside. So Nasdaq having one really superior trade in the morning session. Same thing on the YM. Again, here's market open at 630. The 630 right here, 10 minutes past the open, 1-bar, 2-bar confirmation. You already had the EMA crossover. We're coming over here to the open range already, somewhere, let's see, right here. All right, so we already had the Heiken Ashi bars. Not much of a rise up, but ticks you didn't have before the trade. So again, 2-bar confirmation got you in the trade. You had an AD line that was pretty high, which supported the move upside. Can't say much for the ES today, as ES was pretty much chopping it up inside the open range. This is on a 5-tick chart. Doesn't get any smaller than that on the screen. So here at the market open, you could have had right here a 1-bar, 2-bar. If you went for the 2-bar confirmation here, you really never got higher than that. As you can see, in the 534 EMA, you just chopped it up the remainder of the day. Even not much to the downside. So NQ having a pretty good early morning session, YM as well. We take a look at our gold. Gold had a nice 5 crossover on the 8 exponential moving average, but again, this is all at the open. So unless you took a trade right at the open, you had the 534 EMA crossover. Again, this is all within a minute here. So other than that, you had a couple other opportunities, but it didn't come until pretty much, yeah, pretty much right at the open. Everything else on that, possibly over here at the middle of the morning session here at 8:45 West Coast time, but nothing significant on the gold. As you see, it just pretty much chopped sideways, and it was really the opening. You would have had to take the entry to the downside. Same thing as we could see here on crude. Crude pretty much had a chop session with a couple of moving average crossovers. You had one trading opportunity here at 7 o'clock West Coast time, 1 bar, 2 bar confirmation. You had the crossover 5 minutes later, which would have hung in for some points below the moving average. So, and coming back over about an hour later, we had another trading opportunity on a 1 bar, 2 bar crossover. Stop below here at 100.32. And you had the exponential moving crossover. So here we have a time of 8:05 and about, zoom in on this, 8:05, about 5:34. You may cross over here about 5 minutes later. Or you could have waited another maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes after that and ridden up to the top of the open range. So several opportunities there, and then the remainder of the session more towards the close. Another entry here at 11:10, 11:15, as you had a 2 bar confirmation, and then lining it up on the 534 EMA. Probably the best trade of the day towards the end of the session right here would have been on the 5 crossover to 34. That's at 11:25. So that would have been 10 minutes later. You could have gone with 1 2 bar confirmation or wait for the 1 2 bar over the 25-minute open range, but then pretty much chop till the rest of the day. So gold, not much. Crude having several small opportunities, not anything of a major trend. If we take a look, let's jump right into our Russell. As we can see, the Russell has had some significant gaps that have dropped down since last Thursday. We had a drop down of approximately 300 plus ticks. That open gap was actually touched overnight on the 1170.10 right up to the top. We'll show that to you here in a minute on the exponential moving average. But market price action, here's Thursday's action as it dropped down. And then we had an open gap from the session already in the early morning. And we could see price over here, weekly opening price at 1169.3 had a nice drop down as we see the AD line bringing it down as well. And throughout the remainder of the session, pretty much chopped. So 3 terrific trade opportunities in today's session. Let's go right into the charts as to when those trades were taken. 3 trade opportunities throughout the session. Again, the best, the majority of the move was in the overnight session, like many of the other trades. As we can see, the remainder of the session during the afternoon was all the way chopped. So we had a not only a 534, but we had a really nice setup on the 5 above the 1321 and 80. So here we are at the market open. The market open showing already a crossover on the 8-period moving average. Here we are at 6:30 within this area here. A lot of chop along sideways. Already had the gap up on the Russell. You can see the Russell having some major significant moves. Again, it's just another indicator we're using to look at direction. So starting out at the 6:30 opening bell, we had a 1 2 bar confirmation to the downside, but we did not have a 534 EMA crossover yet until at least 4 minutes later. So there was some ticks to be taken there. Price action pretty much chopping up within the 25-minute open range. Had several other opportunities here later, about 45 minutes past, awaiting for the price action below the 25-minute open range on a 1 2 bar confirmation here at 706 and 709. And then one of the better trades of the day over here at 731, which would have taken you a little bit longer on the 534 EMA. It might have waited till at least you broke above the 25-minute open range. So here would have been 1 2 bar confirmation, but you don't have enough. You're looking for at least 5 ticks, so this would have been 1 2. So we're looking at an entry. Let's take a little bit of focus over here. All right, so here this bar and this bar would have been the entry, 744. We come over here, we have a break above at 744 above the 534. That would have been the optimal trade. You would have written that up. And then finally the trade on the downside here towards the mid-morning session, and that would have been the afternoon lunchtime hour. We had a 1-2 breakover over here at 8:33 West Coast time, and we could see we had not crossed the EMA yet. It wasn't until about 8:58, which would have taken us into this portion of the trade right over here on the EMA crossover, which we would have written down all the way down to the almost previous high, which actually lined up with the 1 hour open range. Average move down was hit for today. That's 1 for 1 for the week already. So entry on the open all the way down to the average move down would have got you some nice ticks. But again, 3 really nice trades in today's session. All right, so just to recap again, the trades on the Russell that we have. This is our overnight session, which for our overnight traders had a nice, wonderful 534 Heiken Ashi, 5 above 1321.80, 8 over the cross, 8 EMA at the open on the open on Sunday, which led into this rise for the entire session, which here was one of our trade opportunities. Besides the open, here we had a nice Russell index coming down, 5 below the 1321.80. We had a 5 below the 34. We had an 8-period crossover. We're looking around the 25-minute open range here, waiting for this congestion here. Again, you could have gotten in earlier at around post 30 minutes of the open here on the 2-bar crossover on the 8-period moving average, and follow the Heiken Ashi candles. As long as the 5 was under the 34, keeps you in the trade. This was a Fibonacci target. Fib target 1 here at 1162.9 gave you 85% probability of hitting that target, and then Fib target 2 at 1158.9 and hitting the average move down. So a nice, wonderful morning trade. The Russell's the only one that actually let go a little bit today versus the other 3 indices. We had another setup on the Russell as well, about post 1 hour open. Again, I mentioned this in the video. You had a, this is not a 2-bar confirmation. We're looking for 2 green bars. This did not qualify as the second green bar. So you had 1, 2, that put you at 744, which gave you the 534 EMA, which you would have taken up, and you had a 5 above 1321 here. But again, that's not a technical indicator. It's just to keep you in trend. As you can see, eventually it kept you in trend as price action on the Russell was continuing high. And the last successful trade of the day, trade number 3. Here we have at post 2 hours of the open, several trading opportunities. You could have taken the first one here on the 2-bar 830 2-bar confirmation, but we did not have the 534 EMA crossover. I would have waited a little bit longer until I at least had broken the low of the 25-minute open range, but there was my 1 2-bar confirmation, and which lined up already with a 534 EMA, which came all the way down here to the 1 hour open range low, and we already had a 5 under 1321 and eventually under the 80, and this was the better scenario setup right here, which was trade number 3. That concludes today's wrap. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com, any of my social media outlets, to obtain more information. My trading mantra is know one thing and know well. I love the Russell. I trade the Russell. I follow the other indices to give you what's my insight, and the same rules apply. Whether you trade the ES, the NQ, the YM, GC, Apple, whatever it is, my plan will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at Trading Fibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me, and on my charts, have yourself a blue zone day.